He is full on MAGA language.
Is Jeff Rath too MAGA? I'm going to react to the first 5 minutes or so of this YouTube video titled Alberta as the 51st State, Jeff Rath's MAGA Fever Dream. This video is quite ridiculous. I'm going to add in some stuff as we go. Enjoy.
I'm here joined by Markham Hislop to talk about a Substack essay that you posted this afternoon, Markham, called the Alberta as the 51st State, Jeff Rath's MAGA Fever Dream. Now, what struck me about this essay really is about this dangerous political rhetoric. And usually you would just invite Jeff onto the show and talk to him, but maybe you could talk to us a little bit about who is Jeff Rath and why isn't he on the show?
Oh, thanks, MC. Yeah, as a rule, journalists, when they are going to write about or talk about an individual, the rule of thumb is that you issue them an invitation for an interview, so that they can speak for themselves and explain their point of view on whatever the issue is. I didn't do that this time because Jeff Rath is a very polarizing figure. He is.
That's not a reason to not invite somebody. And as you'll see here, his rationale for not inviting Jeff Rath, in my opinion, for sure, is ridiculous.
He's the lead counsel for the Alberta Prosperity Project, which is advocating for Alberta to break away from Canada and join the United States as a 51st state. He's been going down to Washington, meeting with...
Okay, so already that is straight, as they would say, misinformation. Where is the 51st state thing coming in?
He's the lead counsel for the Alberta Prosperity Project, which is advocating for Alberta to break away from Canada and join the United States as a 51st state.
I mean, are you kidding me? That is all of the misinformations. That's the most misinformation thing I've seen on YouTube in a while.
He's been going down to Washington, meeting with what he calls senior Trump administration officials, who he won't name, which is problematic. So we can't verify any of this. But he is full on MAGA language. And very...
What does that mean? Full on MAGA language? He's going to bring up some other stuff as we go. MAGA is the dominant political faction in North America right now. MAGA controls the world superpower. So give me a break with that. MAGA is the political establishment in America right now, and it has been now for 2 of the last 3 terms. So give the amount of Canadians that still stick their nose up at MAGA is pathetic. MAGA is winning.
His comments are always full of conspiracy theory language. And I really, in this case, I didn't think that I could have a constructive interview with him.
Would this be an example of that conspiracy theory language? I mean, I'm not sure, but...
We had Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, the second most powerful man in the world, repeating what we told the State Department officials back in December, that aspirationally Alberta would love to have a pipeline through the U.S. Pacific Northwest to the West Coast, because we're sick and tired of David Eby threatening us with a veto and saying we're only going to get a pipeline over his dead body and all of the foolishness that comes out of his mouth. And of course, the reaction to that from David Eby, when he saw that his power was being taken away and that he no longer had power, he was no longer going to have power to constrain oil and gas development in Alberta on behalf of his communist masters in China, right, was to jump up and down and have a hysterical little hissy fit and say that, we're engaged in treason and that real Albertans don't support it.
I'm fine with the way Jeff Rath speaks. This guy is box office. I would love him to do more interviews. He's so entertaining. He is also great at laying out some of the economic benefits of an independent Alberta in these interviews. Also, when this guy said this...
He's been going down to Washington, meeting with what he calls senior Trump administration officials, who he won't name, which is problematic. So we can't verify any of this.
And then I'll get Jeff here talking about that.
When you
obviously directly addressing him, but speaking about that here.
You mentioned that you've met with people in the State Department. You feel as though that message has been conveyed to Scott Bessent. That's why he made the comments he did. How high up are the meetings that you're taking? Are there names, for example, of people that you're meeting with that we would recognize offhand?
I'm not sure about that. Probably. I mean, we're meeting at a very high level. People in our meetings are going, direct.
Stephen Miller?
I'm not going to say. I mean,
Why not?
We're not, because we're not. We have an agreement with the people that we're meeting with that we're not disclosing the identities of the people that we're meeting with. So
why not? May I ask?
Because it's an agreement. So that's all.
But again, would it be reasonable to question the motivations of making that agreement?
That's probably why we're not talking about it. We don't want them being bothered by people from the press in Canada asking them silly questions. They don't want to be wasting their time answering questions from the press, right?
And back now to this interview.
I really, in this case, I didn't think that I could have a constructive interview with him. I mean, I interview people all the time that I don't that I disagree with, and sometimes, we have a back and forth. We put out our arguments and see who has the best one. He's not that kind of guy.
I am not buying that. I have disagreements with people all the time. Just have Jeff Rath on your show. To be totally honest, it sounds like this guy might be a little scared of interviewing Jeff Rath.
Fact that as a lawyer, he's argued in front of the Supreme Court, and he clearly knows how to argue. His public commentary, the way he behaves, it's pretty clear that it's about ideology. It's not about evidence. It's not about the quality of his argument. This is about ideology.
How do you know? You won't even talk to him.
And so instead of doing that, I used 2 interviews that he did with CTV, a reporter, where he explained his organization, what it's trying to do and so on. And it was the language in that interview that I focused on in this essay.
Well, language, bro, Canada is a joke. I'm going to keep going because I think he'll kind of get to a point where I'll make more points, but come on, the language, dude.
You open the essay and close the essay by saying that words matter. And I think that that's really important. And how do we see Rath as, kind of this fringe activist, or is this someone that we need to take seriously as a democratic risk and as a risk to, potentially Alberta leaving the Confederation?
Bro, how is he fringe? From the interviews I've seen, he sounds like a reasonable person.
Right now, polls show that there's about 15 to 20% support for separatism in Alberta. Maybe you could stretch that out to 30%, depending on how you ask the question. The concern here is not whether or not there's 51% of Albertans support leaving Confederation. It's a Brexit-style situation.
The UK has voted in its special referendum, and the majority of voters have decided to exit the EU.
Where, back in 2016, when the UK voted in a referendum to leave the European Union, and the campaign was full of lies and misinformation and outside interference by malicious political actors. And now,
What about the misinformation you said back here in the interview where you made this claim?
This time, because Jeff Rath is a very polarizing figure. He is he's the lead counsel for the Alberta Prosperity Project, which is advocating for Alberta to break away from Canada and join the United States as a 51st state. He's been going.
Is that not misinformation? Misinformation in Canada is coded language for right of center. That's literally all it means in this country.
By malicious political actors, and now a lot of that they've left the EU. Many Britons understand that they were sold a bill of goods. That it wasn't.
Who's the one that's injecting their ideology, bro? Are you kidding me? This is left-wing ideology you're just layering on to what you're saying.
That they were lied to. And that's what worries people, worries me, frankly, about this, is that if the provincial government decides to put a referendum question on the ballot, that then the campaign to support it would be full of misinformation and lies and so on. And so the language that Jeff Rath and others as well use is very, very important here. Because I think, in my opinion, it disqualifies him as a serious spokesperson.
Who are you to say that? This is so totalitarian, so dystopian. It disqualifies him. Who are you, man?
Or a serious player in this debate, because it's so full. I mean, Jeff Rath, if you've ever been on a social media where you're talking to someone, let's say from the United States, and they're a MAGA, a Trump supporter
This
in
is
the
not a gotcha.
MAGA culture, this is full of that language.
Bro, MAGA is the political establishment of the most powerful country on earth and by far the most important country to Canada. Stop with this attitude. This exists all over Canada. It's disgusting. It's getting us nowhere. It's a stupid virtue signal. It's good for basically nobody. Maybe if you're in the liberal media, it's good for your talking points.
And it's very clear that Mr. Rath believes in many of these conspiracy theories, uses that kind of language. And it's just, I don't know how you have a rational conversation with somebody like that. But
this is so gross, man. This attitude that there are some, and it's actually many on the right, that are too beyond the pale to even talk to is destroying this country.
The amount of public attention that he's getting, the number of TV interviews and other podcast interviews and so on, that I think it's important to point out just what his mindset, what his view of the world, what his worldview is, maybe is a good way to explain it.
Well, and I want to get...
Dude, MAGA, again. MAGA is the political establishment in USA. Let me know your thoughts, though, about what you thought of this video down below in the comments. Please like, please subscribe. Have a great day. See you in the next video.